Hey everyone, and welcome back to Joey's Retro Newscast, where I go over the top news of the last week in retro handhelds, retro gaming, and just gaming in general. Finally, an actually busy week with news. We have lots of software updates, we have some news from Retroid and some other things, and we have some new segments on the show. So get ready, it's a long one, but it is a good one, I think. Now, there was a Retroid announcement last night, and I'm filming this Thursday morning, so before the actual announcement, all I can really do is guess. However, I will come back later on and film after the announcement, so it will be in today's video. My guess, so it's here and for posterity reasons, is it is a GameCube colored Retroid Pocket Mini. And the background of the announcement leads cadence to that. As well, they were talking about removing colors from the Retroid Pocket Mini, and I have a feeling they'd want to remove colors and add a new one so that it doesn't look too bad on them. So that is my guess. We will find out if I am right a little bit later on, but I just don't think it's the Flip 2 or anything else like that just now. Pretty sure it is a GameCube colored Retroid Pocket Mini, and we'll see if I live to regret those words. Flycast had a ton of updates recently, and thanks to this Reddit post and user for summarizing it for us. Now, I reported a few weeks ago on DCNet, which is the ability to play multiplayer Dreamcast games online, which is super awesome, and that is a big one. There is full VMU experience, which lets you see your VMU screen while playing Flycast. It is also now on the Google Play Store, and it has been for a few months, and it should be your number one Dreamcast emulator going forward if you don't want to use the core in RetroArch. This is a little bit better, but the core is still good too. There is retro achievement support, of course, that is an absolute must for me. And I was never able to get this to work, but it actually has force feedback support. So if you have a racing wheel like I do, I've tried it, but I have not been able to get it to work. But it is supposed to work with wheels to give you that force feedback if your wheel supports it, which is cool. There is HD texture pack support, which is a huge one, and there's actually a nice group of them that you can find on the Flycast texture pack subreddit. And lastly, of course, there is official controller support, if you have one of those Dreamcast controllers still. All of this is awesome work, it is great to see, and I'll probably be doing a deep dive comparison between this and the Flycast RetroArch core at some point in the future when I get some time. Friend of the show Gamma has released his Beta 3 for the Gamma OS core. This is currently a timed Patreon exclusive, and it will be public at some point. Now, a reminder again, this is the Android 13 TV OS, and it is available to be used on Linux devices that don't have touchscreen and don't have Android support. So it all works right off of an SD card, and it doesn't overwrite anything on the Linux side either, so it's pretty cool. Now, he added new device support for the Game MT series, the CB408, and some PalKitty devices. I have no idea what any of these devices are, and I assume that they're somewhere in the back catalogs of AliExpress that you have to scroll to get to. But either way, he's adding support for some other devices, which is cool. And then there's a whole bunch of other updates and changes and things like that, and it's just more better Gamma Core support. Now, I'm working on a video for this. I'm catching up. I'm trying to get to it, but it's probably going to be something I'm going to do with the Miu Flip, since I think that's probably the most device out of this list, and I think the only device that I own on this list, but either the device on this list that needs an operating system the most. So Gamma Core on the Flip, I'll be working on that video, and I'll have that at some point soon. Okay, so awesome news for the TrimUI Brick and TrimUI Smart Pro users. MEOS is coming along nicely. They are working on audio now and a few other things. And then it'll be Patreon exclusive for a bit while people like me can test out the new things they added and did and get it ready for a public release. So basically not much longer if you've been waiting. They also mentioned the Magic X028 and they are working on that. And that definitely needs good Linux custom firmware support. So I personally cannot wait for MEOS to arrive on that and get that device sorted. Awesome work to the MEOS team. Question of the week. What is your favorite system to emulate? I think everybody kind of knows mine. It is the Game Boy Advance, and for a lot of different reasons, but I think the Game Boy Advance to me is the perfect combination of retro. It has an awesome aesthetic as far as games go, awesome music. I love the Game Boy Advance soundtracks and how it sounds and all that. and Pokemon all over it and all that sort of thing. So for me, Game Boy Advance, that is kind of my quintessential retro system to emulate and is my favorite one to emulate. So I'm curious. Let me know in the comments below, what is your favorite system to emulate? Is it Game Boy Advance or is it something else? Okay, so this is super cool. There is a dude that seems to go by the name of Eli Lipsitz. Hopefully I'm saying that right. And he is announcing his open source FPGA retro handheld called the Game Bub. And it has support for Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance games. That also means the physical cartridges, or you could put ROMs on it via an SD card. And it also has link cable support. There is an absolute ton to read on the whole development of this and how it came to be and all of it. So if you have any at all interest in learning how these things are made, I would suggest you give this a read. It is very detailed and very thorough. It is very cool as well. Now, the end part of this is you can make one yourself with the help of the GitHub and all of this work, or you can fill out a form to gauge interest on if he would be selling them. So you have two options to you, and I would suggest just checking it out if you're interested. Okay, so there is a lot of Retroid news this week, and I have a feeling that some of what I'm about to talk about is going to cross over with their announcement, if you go by my guess at the beginning. But we're going to go by the assumption that they aren't announcing a GameCube Mini, just in case they don't, and we'll talk about this next part. So first up, Retroid David confirmed that they are working on an official Retroid Pocket 5 grip, just in time for the launch of the Retroid Pocket 5. Wait a minute. Jokes aside, this is nice to see. I think it might be a little too late, I think, at this point, as I've seen a ton of grip options out there, but more is always better, and not going to fault them for making a grip. Why couldn't they make it at launch or before? I don't know. But either way, awesome, cool to see. Hopefully it's a good one, and we'll go from there. Now, Retroid David also confirmed that Retroid is working on an official EQ for the Retroid Pocket 5 with a fix for the right speaker not producing the same amount of bass as the left speaker. They are working with Coco3K, who has been supplying Retroid Pocket 5 users with scripts to fix their audio for a while now. So it's really awesome to see Retroid working with the community here and getting a fix done for the Retroid Pocket 5 sound, which I said in my review was worse than it should have been, and so this is good to see. Now, on the topic of the Retroid Pocket Mini, there has been some will they, won't they on are they discontinuing it? Are they not discontinuing it? I personally thought they were discontinuing it because all of the images that I saw from people reaching out to customer support was every single color was discontinued, and so to choose another color. And we didn't really have a good answer as to what was going on. So now we have some confusing word that it is not being discontinued, but some colors are, and they are paring it down to the popular colors. We have no idea what those popular colors are, as some of these screenshots said black was discontinued and so is 16-bit, and so we'll have to wait and see what's going on. Now, if we go by my original guess as to what the announcement was, and it's a GameCube Pocket Mini, then I can see this being the reason. They held off for this announcement. They're going to announce that a few colors are going away. GameCube Pocket Mini is going to be the replacement color, and so everybody will clap and cheer because that is probably what they should have done at the beginning. Everybody wanted a GameCube colored Pocket Mini at the start. Not sure how many people are going to double dip at this point to grab one if you already have one, but this isn't going to lead to anything worse. This is a good decision, should have been done at launch, and I think they probably learned their lesson going forward that, hey, this is something people want. Maybe our next handheld should have a GameCube color, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to leave a placeholder here to discuss whatever they announced last night. Again, still think it's a GameCube colored Pocket Mini. Well, we'll see. So let me come back and we'll discuss whatever they announced. Of fucking course, it's the Flip 2. Even I didn't expect it. I really did not expect this one. And they just kind of threw those other content creators under the bus. I'm actually shocked at this one. I fully expected it would take a little bit longer, but no, we went, and again, if you watched my Flip 2 newscast, I literally called this again. Up to a week before this announcement, they were still denying it, according to others, that there was no Flip 2 in development. No Flip 2 was coming, none of that. Enough that certain other content creators were like, here is a Google form so we can present all of this nice little information over to Retroid. And don't worry, all of your feedback is being heard. Let me ask you a question, my listeners that are smarter than the average bear. Do you think that in a week, Retroid was able to take that information, take that feedback, come up with a mock up, come up with an actual device and take pictures of it, and then another device, which we'll talk about again, and do all of this thanks to others? If I'm angry, and I'm sure you can tell that I'm angry, I do not like being gaslit. I do not like being told that I am a liar for things that I know and for things that I say, because if there is one thing that I have proven since I have started doing YouTube is that I just don't do that. And this, thank you, Retroid. Just absolutely thank you for doing this, because it's like a week and they're like, hey, here's a Flip 2. So if there's one thing to learn about this, it's that, man, other people suck and other people try and get you down and try and gaslight you into like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Retroid told us this. Retroid said nothing's in development. There is no Flip 2. Retroid said we have no plans for a Flip 2. Retroid asked us to make a whole feedback form for them so we can provide it and get this whole community managed Flip 2 off the ground. Go yourself. That's my response to that. So back to the newscast. Let's actually talk about the Flip 2 now, because I'm going to get very angry. I need a few minutes and I'll come back. Okay, I have calmed down a little bit. Let's talk about what is actually being shown here. Now, in the picture, and I'm just going to look at it while I'm doing this, there is a Flip 2 and there is a vertical just hidden in the background. And it says spring new arrival. So this is coming sometime pretty soon, and then next few months, which means that, yeah, these have been in development for a little bit. They obviously have the designs all down pat. They're in the manufacturing stage at this point or near it. So there is just little things that they're going to probably tweak at this point. But we have the full design, and it looks like they're going with analog sticks higher than the controls, which is a choice. Now, this is different than what I have personally seen in the past. It's not the same design that I saw previously. So it's obvious that since I saw it months ago, they have made some changes. Now, I don't think these are great changes, in all honesty. Again, I'm going to judge this based on pictures and not based on anything else, but I just don't like the positioning of the sticks, in my opinion. It should be swapped. Those sticks should be down, not up on this. It is a very weird position for them. The rest all makes sense. I mean, it's good to see recessed sticks, which is cool. That I always knew from the Flip designs I saw was going to be that. They're using the Retroid D-pad. That's cool. Looks like the Retroid buttons. That's cool. I mean, they are doing the right things here. And it looks like probably that Retroid Pocket 5 screen. All of this is good, but it looks more like an Powkiddy clamshell or the GPD XD clamshell more than a Retroid clamshell. Looks very different. This is not what I was expecting, but I don't know. I don't know if this is what I wanted, in all honesty. And I'm sure it's not what you all wanted, I'm guessing, based off of what your feedback was, but I am not as excited seeing this now as I expected to be. I've been waiting for this for so long that this design and everything, I don't know if this is it. I don't know if this is what I was looking for, but we will see, I guess, whenever it releases. If they're even going to send me one anymore, who knows? I don't care. I'll buy it anyways. But I'm curious now to check this out. I think it looks cool. The GameCube colors, all of that looks cool, but it's off. It is not what I was looking for. So we will see how that goes. Now, there is a vertical that is hiding somewhere in the background. All you can see is that it has a D-pad somewhere at the top and a screen. We don't know anything. I'm sure that's going to be teased at some point in the future. But right now, all we know is the Flip 2, the magical Flip 2 that somehow got developed in a week and sent out. And man, thank you all to all of your feedback for sending it in, because we sure took it under advisement when we made this. I am being salty again. Look, okay, let's just move on from this one. Flip 2 is coming. Vertical Retroid is coming. That's cool. I hope they're good. I hope that the Flip 2 especially is good. Otherwise, I'll still be waiting for some sort of clamshell, but They have the chance here to do it right, and I'm hoping they do. And I'm hoping that I'm wrong about the placement of things. I'm hoping I'm wrong about the look of it. Hoping it's better than I'm expecting, but we'll see when I actually get it in my hands, and we'll go from there. So let's continue on with the newscast. The AYANEO 3 is just not selling. There are 191 backers for it, and that might have changed from when I wrote this to what's happening now. And AYANEO has taken to emailing people and subtly begging for them to look past that $6.99 price point and just order it, because why not? I mean, this is just marketing for them to do, of course, but from what I understand, they really haven't done something like this in the past. So I guess it's just not going well. Look, I mentioned it before when we talked about the AYANEO 3. $699 isn't a terrible price point for what you are getting here, but it's not a good price point either. And the problem is just every other option for x86 devices that are out there. And I don't mean just OLED, because this has a leg up on a lot of other devices, but I just mean just the amount of devices out there, what is going to be coming out this year. I don't think a lot of people want to throw their hat into the ring with a brand that frankly has had issues in the past. I fully, absolutely believe that people are just scared of AYANEO at this point, and there's a good reason for that. They have a very dodgy history when it comes to just their releases, problems, things like that, even support, all of that. So maybe that's what's happening here. Maybe it's something else. I don't know, but it's just not selling. I think for me, there has been under a handful of devices from AYANEO that I've had some interest in, but it is always the same sort of idea. They have cool designs and it looks really cool, and I'd like to kind of put them in a bucket of influencer bait. It is that type of video, it is that type of device that looks really cool in a video when you see it, when an influencer is kind of hyping it up, and then the price comes out and you're like, I am not paying that amount for that thing. And then it raises because that is the early bird pricing. And then after the early bird, it goes to their website where it goes up another $200. And it just gets worse from there. So they have cool designs. They have cool handhelds. They design things pretty well. They have had issues, but every manufacturer has had issues. I think the main problem is just a lot of their pricing and a lot of their really the way that they do their marketing and all that sort of thing. Because the scenario is if you do not purchase that device during early bird, you are never going to purchase it because the price just goes up way too much. And you can look at the Pocket Evo for a perfect example of that. It was competitive with the Portal at the early bird. And then suddenly it just jacked up in price when it got off of the Indiegogo. And you're left wondering, well, all of those videos, all those comparisons between the two devices are just kind of useless at this point because you are never ever going to find that device at that price again. Maybe in a year, maybe in 2 years, and at that point, who cares anymore? There will be a Pocket Evo 3, there will be an Evo 3, there will be a Portal 3, and all that sort of thing. So, yeah, it's a weird, confusing thing, but it's probably what's lining up to why the AYANEO 3 isn't selling. I don't know. I don't want to harp on them too much, and I don't want to kind of go against them too much, but I mean, what are your thoughts? Why do you think the AYANEO 3 isn't selling? Price obviously is probably the biggest reason, but is there another reason that keeps you away from an AYANEO device like this? Let me know. For me, again, it just goes back to like, it's a CES type device. You go there, you see all these cool devices, and you're like, that's cool, but I'm not going to buy that. That's how I see it. By the way, did you know that we have a Game of the Month and a ROM Hack of the Month? This month's Game of the Month is Medieval, and this month's ROM Hack of the Month is Wario Land 4 Parallel World. You can come join the Discord, play both of them, and talk with everybody else that's going through them right now. New segment time. What am I playing? So besides the ROM Hack of the Month and Game of the Month, I am making my way through the Ace Attorney series. I'm currently in the trilogy, the first, and I'm at the last trial at the moment or something like that. I'm near the end. And it's been a while since I've been so addicted to a video game or video game series. I started this under a week and a half ago, and I'm already at that third game in the trilogy. I don't know what it is. Trials and Tribulations, that's where I am. And every game has gotten progressively better in music, in everything. It is just so good. If you have not played the Ace Attorney games, I highly suggest it. I know I am late. Somebody who loves Danganronpa as much as I do, you would think that I've played other games like that, but I have not. Besides this and 999, I've played a bit of 999. This is, or I guess the Zero Escape trilogy as it's called. Ace Attorney was one that I never really got into until now, and It is so good. It is so good. I love every time Objection shows up. I love the music. Either way, play the Ace Attorney series if you haven't. That is all I have been playing for the last week and a half, so that is what I'm playing. Okay, let's jump over into game news now, and PSN was down for about a day or so without any reason as to why. They did give 5 days of extra PS Plus on your existing subscription, which is pretty cool. We have no clue what happened here. Bob in IT must have accidentally turned off a server or something, and PlayStation or Sony isn't really telling us what happened. At least this time it was only a day and not months, like the PS3 era. Or was it weeks? I don't remember. There was a state of play this week on Wednesday, and so we got a lot of new trailers and new games to talk about. Honestly, this was a surprisingly good one, so I suggest you give it a watch. It is actually worth it. So we opened with Monster Hunter Wilds, and there's an announcement of a first patch, and it includes some big dragon thing called the Mizutsuni in the spring. Yeah, if you know what that's called, then it's coming in the spring. Then we moved on to an awesome 2D shinobi game called Shinobi Art of Vengeance. This is from the developers of Streets of Rage 4, and the art style is crazy good. I don't know if you know this, but my favorite arcade game is Shinobi because a family member of mine actually had a Shinobi arcade, and every time I would visit, that's all I would play. This releases August of 2025. Sonic Racing Crossworlds is up next, and finally, Sonic is allowed to go fast in a video game. This looks like Sonic Deluxe 8. It is so very much Mario Kart 8 Deluxe inspired, but it is very cool. We could use more kart racing games nowadays. The network test for this takes place on February 21st. Digimon Story Time Stranger is my personal favorite from this show, and it is a new Digimon Story game. Not sure what else you need to know from this, but it is coming in 2025, and it is coming to both PS5 and PC. And if you haven't played Cyber Sleuth or Hacker's Memory, you definitely should. Digimon Story is fantastic. Lost Soul Aside is a new game that honestly looks pretty cool. It releases May 30th, so it's not too far away, and I am actually definitely interested in this going off of the trailer. Funniest announcement is Dave the Diver is crossing over with Ichiban from Like a Dragon in the weirdest but most awesome crossover yet. This is just awesome. This is super cool, and I love to see it. So yeah, more Dave the Diver shenanigans here. Looks like it's coming to PS5. I'm not sure about PC or any other platforms. Borderlands 4 is coming out on September 23rd, 2025, and not a single person cares. I'm kidding. Randy and Randy definitely do care. Split Fiction has a new trailer, and this is the co-op game from the makers of It Takes Two. I actually can't wait for this. This looks super cool from when I saw it at E3. Not E3. What was it? Game Awards. Yeah, that looked really cool when I saw the trailer there, so I can't wait for this game. Midnight Walk is a claymation game, apparently, and it is very much Nightmare Before Christmas styled. And it is a super duper horror game, and it looks really cool. I'll have to go check this out. It comes out on May 8th. Do you want to play as an octopus in the real world? Well, Darwin's Paradox is that game. You can play as an octopus, and you can do octopus things, and I don't even know. You play as an octopus. Onimusha 2 is getting a remaster, and that comes out on May 26th of this year. Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater was shown with the release date of August 28th, and they also even teased the Ape Escape crossover that was in the game, so that is also included in the remaster. Hell Is Us got a new trailer, and I don't remember hearing about this game before, but the name sounds familiar. The game itself actually looks super interesting. I know nothing about it, but the trailer captured my interest, so I'm going to keep an eye out. Lies of P is getting a DLC, and this one was weird. Admittedly, I have not played Lies of P quite a bit, but it does look a lot more action-focused and quicker and faster than I remember Lies of P being. And I've only played a little bit of it, so I don't know if later on in the game you get super fast, but the trailer looks super fast, so I don't know what's going on, but I'm interested. Days Gone is getting a remaster because, of course it is. It has only been a few years, and we are remastering things. There's a release date of April 25th, and I am not sure that it is actually coming to PC. It looks like some of the features and modes are, but not the remaster, from what I can tell. Stellar Blade is getting a DLC, and it is also getting a PC port. Both of them are releasing in June of this year, which is pretty cool. I haven't played Stellar Blade yet, and I've been looking forward to a PC port so I can do so. Tides of Annihilation is a new third-person action-adventure game that I've actually never heard of, and it looks to be pretty cool. So I'm going to be paying attention to this one. Not much else I can talk about here, but it just looks good. Mind's Eye is coming out in summer of 2025, and it has big, I don't know, cyberpunk compared with Grand Theft Auto vibes, I guess, sort of. I have no idea. It just looks super cool, and I know that Lensley Benzies was part of GTA or helped make GTA. I forget what his position was, but he was part of the team that made GTA back then, so it makes sense why I'm getting GTA vibes. Okay, so I made this joke in my Discord, but the moment that I saw this game, I said this was Returnal with a guy, and it absolutely ended up being Returnal with a guy. This is called Saros, and it is made by Housemarque, who made Returnal, and then they ended up saying in this video that it is Returnal with a guy. So, I am right. This is now known as Returnal with a guy. Overall, a pretty good state of play, a nice smattering of games, and kind of different for most part. So this was a good state of play. Good job, Sony. Okay, so let's get into some Newscast Q&A. Reminder again, newscast@joeysretrohandhelds.com is the email address. This is the first time we are going to be doing this segment, and thankfully there are a few emails to go through. So appreciate you guys for sending them in because I kind of want to do Q&A, and I thought it'd be fun to do. So let's get to the questions. This one comes from Pope, and it is, have you looked at the Gulikit Elves 2? It is supposed to arrive in March. Okay, so I have not. Let me take a look at this thing. And it looks like a weird looking controller. It is symmetrical, large as hell sticks, which is pretty cool. There's a big Sega D-pad. There's big buttons. This actually looks kind of awesome, to be honest. I usually get sent all of the Gulikit controllers, thanks to Acme's at Amazon. And so whenever this releases, I'll probably have it and I can look at it. And then I'll give you my thoughts at it at that point. But looks pretty cool. Looks different than what's out there, I guess. It's kind of chonky though, so I'm a little bit scared about how big this controller is going to be. Then we have another question here, and this one is, if you could design one Anbernic handheld, what would it be? The Anbernic RG353P with a T618 or better processor, and that might actually be it. The RG353P is beautiful. It is Super Nintendo inspired, and all they need to do is just update it for 2025, and I would be happy with that. Now, a second option for me would be the RG280V with Wi-Fi and probably an H700 or better. That's all they have to do. Just do that, and I would be super happy. I don't know why they haven't remade the RG280V, because that is just a fantastic handheld, but for some reason they don't want to, and I'm really hoping they do. This one comes from David, Pocket Evo versus the Odin 2 Portal. My answer is simple. It's the Odin 2 Portal. There's a specific reason why the Evo is $200 more, and so at this point, it doesn't really make sense to compare the two. The Portal has been fantastic for me, and I know I've gushed about it a little bit, especially with the fact that I wasn't interested in it, and now I love it. It's all I've been using for the last few weeks. I have streamed everything I've been playing. All of my Ace Attorney series has been on the Odin 2 Portal, streaming it from my computer. I am absolutely in love with it. It is underrated how good those sticks are, especially with the large stick caps. It is underrated how good the D-pad is. It is much more than just an Odin 2 with OLED. It is a big difference to me, and I love the Portal. It is so good. This next question comes from Mike, and it is, what is your favorite current handheld? And the answer is the Odin 2 Portal. For a lot of the reasons I just said. It is just so good. So I'm not going to rehash all of the points that I just made, but just Odin 2 Portal, man. It is better than I expected, and it is so good. This one comes from Jay. What is Anbernic doing? Resting, I guess. I don't know. I'm going to consider December, January, and February-ish as Anbernic Sunday. They are just kind of resting and deciding what to do next. Look, they came out with, 12 or so devices in 2024. And now, because of the tariffs and everything, it would not make sense to release a device at the moment with all of the confusion and what's going on. Because if they release something, it'll get hit by those tariffs, and then all of that goes down. So my guess is whatever they come up with next is going to be a not as exciting device, so they can test the waters on the tariffs thing and wait for a bigger or better device like the 34XX SP or something. But that's just a guess. I have no idea what they're working on. I have no idea what they're doing. I don't know where they are, but it's been nice, kind of, to have no big releases from them. Maybe they're taking their time on devices now. That's my hope. That's all the questions I have this week. Again, newscast at joeysretrohandhelds.com to send in anything you want, or come join the Discord. There is a channel dedicated to Newscast Q&A, and you can send in your questions there. Appreciate you all for watching, and that's all from me, Dildo Newfoundland. Can't.